Do you want to know how to build a memorable brand from day one without being salesy or pushy? Yes, today we'll discuss about how to do that. In this video, I'll explain it to you using neuromarketing techniques or the fundamentals, how you can do that. Yes, it might look like some bold statement. If you'll be with me in this video until then, I will show you exactly how this could be done. Okay, let's look at it when it comes to memorable brand. What does that mean? If you want your prospective buyer to remember you, the first thing you need to make sure is to make sure your brand he remembers, to put it into his memory. We all know memorizing things, it's not that easy. We find it difficult to memorize things, but that is maybe your studies or something else. But if we have to do that for someone else, that's going to be still quite difficult than what you think. But actually, what I'm going to do today is to share you something, how the human brain functions and how you can do this to build your brand memorable even from day one. Okay, let me explain it to you. Before I explain, first thing you need to know is let's talk about neurobiology. Okay, don't be scared. I'm not going to talk to you technical or scientific. I'll explain it to you in simple terms how this works. The first thing which comes to our mind, or first thing which we need to consider when we want to save something into our memory, that is the call part of the brain which is inside here is called the hippocampus. The hippocampus is the part of the brain which is responsible for memory, education, thought process, decision making. But that is not the core hard drive or the device which saves long-term memory that is connected to the cortex. That's not what we are going to talk about today. So let's see how the hippocampus stores things. And if you want to make it memorable, there are four steps which you might need to do. That is, number one, you need to make it novelty. Novelty means it should be something new, something unique, which if you have not seen something, it's not something regular which you see. If that is something novelty which you're going to present it, yes, that is the number one thing, how the hippocampus works and how it will store your information, your brand into your prospective client. So that is number one. What's number two? Number two is that is repetition. That is repetition. Repetition means how you do it again and again and again. Okay, now we are talking about how to make your brand memorable even from day one. So this is not what I'm going to talk about. You repeat your ad for 100 times, 1,000 times on TV, radio, or newspaper or social media channels. This is, yes, you can do it even in one. That is what you need to do is like highlight the same point which you want to communicate multiple times within the same message. That is called repetition. Let's take for an example. If something happens, you go to a meeting. Every time you go to a meeting at a particular location, you get a cup of tea. If one day you don't get that cup of tea, you will remember that. That is because of repetition. You keep that in mind that you need to get a tea when you go to the meeting, something like that. So what you need to do is, if you want to make your brand memorable, the second point is make it repeating. Repeat, repetitive is the second point. Okay, let's go to the third point. The third point is association. Like the more associations which we have, the more memorable it's going to be. For example, let's say you meet a person. That person knows 10 people who I also know. So that is something common. This is what is called association. The more associations which we have in common, that is going to be memorable than you thinking of or meeting someone, he doesn't know anyone who you know, that is called memorable. So if you can connect your marketing message with something associating with what they know, it may be some actions, it could be some locations, whatever it is, if that is there, which is common with them, that is the third point, which is going to be memorable. The fourth point and the final point, you want to know what is that? That is cognitive resonance. Okay, don't worry. It sounds a bit technical or scientific, but I'll explain it to you in simple terms. When it comes to cognitive resonance, what happens is like how our hippocampus functions. Our hippocampus, what it does is it stores everything related to uh, events and facts. That is, events and facts is what our hippocampus stores. But it's what it stores is whatever events, facts in the past, present, and even in the future, what we imagine. So all that is connected in the hippocampus, and that is how you can make it memorable. So what you need to do is you need to make sure your events and facts, if you can connect it in your message, that is how your brand could be memorable. So if you want to make your brand memorable, think of these four facts. Number one, novelty. Number two, repetition. Number three, association. And the number four, that is cognitive resonance. Cognitive resonance, let me explain it to you again. That is how our brain, especially the hippocampus, saves information is facts and events. So this you could make it in terms of a story, which is like events, which you can explain it, and also you can give facts within that. So if you want to make your brand memorable from day one, it could be the first meeting which you are meeting with your client, it could be an advertisement, whatever it is, try to include these four parts. That is how the human brain functions to save things. So if you are being able to do that, your brand is going to be memorable. Okay, do you want, this is something basic which I explained. If you want something more practical tips on how the neuroscience of humans, how neuromarketing works, and how you can apply that to your brand and make it a success, click the link below and subscribe to this channel, as well as click the bell icon and select all, so that you will never miss anything which is going to be useful for you and practically which you can do with simple steps. You will get more uh, videos which I will be doing in the future. So make your brand memorable.